Jesus! There was 5 of them! It took 5 of them!
Skyrim, Skyrim, you are streamlined as sin. Skyrim, Skyrim, you're a Fallout 3 skin. Skyrim, Skyrim, you can play as a class. Skyrim, Skyrim, Todd Howard's an ass. Skyrim, Skyrim, you were made for the thick. Skyrim, Skyrim, your set pieces by dick. Skyrim. Yeah, okay, you get the fucking point.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it!
In my Elder Scrolls retrospective, I alluded to the series' impending identity crisis, and move the fuck over, Nostradamus, did I not fucking call it. Yes, even the slavering Bethesdrones, who less than a full month distant from the game's initial release nevertheless feel comfortable calling this the Game of the Year all years, Navy, have readily admitted it's got more identity issues than Prince, which gives the game something in common with its main character, but I'll get to that in fucking spades momentarily. The first symptoms of the malady I've just alluded to surface in the form of the on-rails set piece that spans the first 10 to 15 minutes of the fucking game. Folks, if you like this game, if you hate this game, if you're convinced Todd Howard's dandruff shavings cure incontinence, it doesn't really fucking matter.
It doesn't matter!
Oh, it doesn't matter! All you bitches need to come to consensus here and admit that an on-rails first-person set piece has no motherfucking place in an Elder Scrolls game. It doesn't add anything, it could have just as easily been gameplay, and not one word of the dialogue spoken during the overlong scenic carriage ride into Skyrim wouldn't have been better conveyed through in-game action or through dialogue. This is Elder Scrolls, not fucking driving Miss Daisy. Why am I on a Texas hayride bound for Middle-earth with a bunch of abnormally loquacious convicted murderers, spinning my head around like a satanic Pez dispenser to fool myself into thinking I have even a little control over the first 15 minutes of this goddamn game? There is absolutely no excuse for this bullshit, save for the shameless attempt on Bethesda's part to toss the Call of Duty fanboys salad. What's more, it adds to the fact that this game's opening is a fucking chore to get through. I, for one, loathe the prospect of starting a second character because I don't want to walk around like an asshole with my hands tied up watching the game jerk itself off for a quarter of an hour. I feel like the mother who just walked in on her son's first encounter with page 6 of the Victoria's Secret catalog. Should I go? Do you even need me here? Would you like me to crawl back into my mother's womb? And that's a very, very bad thing because the desire to start new characters to experience every permutation of every scenario is easily half of Elder Scrolls' actual appeal. Absent that, the game does disintegrate into GTA with swords and dragons. Is the game streamlined? Yes! Quantifiably so. Everything from the evaporation of alternate routes in the game's multitudinous cookie-cutter dungeons to smaller, more cosmetic touches. Why the fuck is it NPCs used to call my character a dark elf, and now they're calling me just plain elf, regardless of which kind of elf I am? How many nickels did that little omission shave off the voice acting budget, you miserly fucks? And why weren't the savings then reinvested to get Todd Howard's eyes surgically straightened the fuck out? Having finally regained consciousness after the narcoleptic game intro, I at last began my Forrest Gump-like trek across Greater Skyrim. An hour or so in, having dispatched half the wolf population in Tamriel without the benefit of a millisecond of bed rest, the question of why I had full health immediately leapt to mind, at which point I realized Skyrim has added regenerating health. In the interest of full disclosure, the past games had regenerating health after a fashion, but not like this, and maybe that's the Dovahkiin's superpower, because he can pretty much get in a fist fight with Edward Chainsaw Hands and still come out ahead due to the fact that his arms grow back before they hit the goddamn ground. I'm still waiting for a fanboy to provide adequate justification for why a game with more health potions than people even fucking needs regenerating health. If your faculties have been so wholly obliterated by years of recreational drug use that you managed to miss the Pacific Ocean of health potion fluid circulating around Skyrim, yeah, do the rest of us a favor and hold yourself back a grade or 6. The march into mediocrity continues. In a general sense, Skyrim's main problem is that it feels like an Elder Scrolls mod for Fallout 3, and as the game's many pervasive glitches prove, not a particularly well-tested one either. Fallout 3's perk system, come on down. Lockpicking, get your broken ass over here. VAT-style contextual kills, well fuck, if a kill isn't in slow-mo or third person, does it even count? I enjoyed Fallout 3, but I enjoy Elder Scrolls a fuck of a lot more, and I find it massively depressing that the company who created the Elder Scrolls series doesn't seem to share that sentiment. I won't pretend to be a theologian, but I've got to believe my own personal version of hell bears more than a passing resemblance to Skyrim's lockpicking system. Oh hey guys, I've got an idea. Let's take Fallout 3's lockpicking, remove anything that might be mistaken for skill from the equation, turn it into a glorified crapshoot, and then penalize the player by snapping your lockpicks in half every time the game all but requires the player to fuck up. But if their lockpicking skill is high, then they just press X to win. Game of the fucking year. Bethesda displayed reticence in divulging the game's instantaneous class switching system, and well, they should. It took me nearly an hour to find out what my class was, at which point I discovered I didn't fucking have one and never would.
Fuck 'em.
And this is without question the game's most egregious omission. No more playing as Klepto McSteals-a-lot, the thief. From now on, you're just plain Klepto McSteals-a-lot. At first glance, the class system removal may seem relatively benign. After all, you can still level up your skills and become a warrior. You'll just never have that badass warrior title next to your name. Fly in the ointment, however, is that in Oblivion, for example, choosing your class meant that certain attributes were enhanced off the bat, which meant that choosing to play as a thief felt like playing as a thief from the very first moment you booted up the goddamn game. Skyrim, however, seems to resent the very suggestion that you could ever possibly want to play the game just one way, which, by the way, is a major contributing factor in the all-important category of replayability. What if Mario didn't turn into a plumber until the 15th fucking game level? What if he couldn't jump and crush blocks with his fucking head until level 3? Would that still be Game of the Year all years there, Game Failers editorial board? How many times have you played through an Elder Scrolls game a second or even a third time just to see how wildly different the game is when cast in the role of a Nightblade, for example? It's arguably the singular reason anyone would ever want to replay an Elder Scrolls game, and now it's fucking gone. No more Aragorn the Ranger. Instead, you begin the game as the wildly charismatic Standard McDefault, who was evidently suspended in formaldehyde for the last 20 years because at no point in his heretofore irrelevant existence did he choose to train himself to be more than a worthless pile of wasted humanity. Does this fucker pull his bow and arrow back 5 inches and then say, well, that's enough for today, I'd hate to get fucking good at something? This Dovahkiin fuck makes the irate gamer sound like a time-traveling space ninja porn star who shits gold and fistfights with T-Rexes. You mean to tell me this is the motherfucking Dragonborn, folks? Well, if this is the exalted one the dragons have anointed as their blood brother, it goes a long goddamn way to explaining why the Nords are hell-bent on wiping every dragon off the face of the goddamn planet. Untalented? Utter lack of charisma? Angry Joe's positive Skyrim review is certainly coming into focus now, and that's perhaps the greatest issue I have with the game. You mean to tell me the VGAs deign to declare themselves dispassionate enough to accurately inform the so-called unwashed stupid masses whether a game that isn't even a month fucking old is objectively one of the greatest RPGs ever made? Isn't that like trying to give an impartial sexual critique before your girlfriend's had time to pull her finger out of your ass? The back of the game box boldly trumpets Skyrim's lineage as the sequel to the 2006 Game of the Year, but I have a feeling someone in marketing neglected to relay that message to Todd Howard. See, Bethesda could have given us a game that felt more like Elder Scrolls and still shifted the copious sales quantities they ultimately snagged with Skyrim due entirely to the game's hype and marketing. And make no mistake, Skyrim didn't lobotomize everything. It's neat, for example, that the Alchemy crafting system is more robust than ever. It's just a shame I can't enjoy this fact more fully by creating a class that begins the game with shitloads of alchemy experience, meaning the game doesn't get even marginally fun until at least level 15 or so. And don't give me shit like, just download some mods. That'll fix the problem. If I buy a fucking Big Mac and the proactive poster child behind the counter hands me a slab of raw ground beef, am I just gonna leg it on home, toss it into a skillet, and do their fucking job for them? Because to me, the PC master race is sounding less like the Uber mention, more like the unwitting servant class of 2K games. So wait, you drop shitloads of money on an up-to-date gaming rig, then you get to build it yourself, hook it up yourself, buy the game, and then finish making the game for Bethesda? Long live the PC master race. Take a short step back from the precipice of fanboy gorge. I'll reiterate for the benefit of those with cognitive dissonance, Skyrim is not, I repeat, fucking not a bad game. Yet. Elder Scrolls is a difficult formula to fuck up within the confines of just one game, but you give it 1 or 2 games down the road, if the series holds to its present streamlined course, it'll suck ass through a fucking garden hose, and you can fucking quote me on that. I'm Razorfist God. Fucking speed.